I've done numerous videos on my channel here talking about Ekpe, lands for sale in Ekpe, and how fast Ekpe have been appreciating and developing. But I've also received numerous inquiries in my DM, in my inbox, from different prospects, different contacts who want to invest in Ekpe, but are wary about the titles of the land in Ekpe. So I feel I should do a comprehensive video talking about freehold lands for sale in Ekpe and how safe it is. In case you are coming across a video like this for the first time, this is Meet the Property channel, and this is where we discuss everything real estate for those who want to buy, invest, or sell a property here in Nigeria. We share tips, guides, and advice on what to buy, where to buy, different things, different factors you put into your consideration when you want to buy or invest in real estate here in Lagos or in Nigeria entirely. So after watching this particular video, you can also go through our previous episodes, previous videos. There are a lot of topics that we have covered already about land titles, short stay, Airbnb, Lekki, Ibeju-Lekki, and the like. You are going to learn a lot. So let's go into the topic: freehold lands for sale here in Ekpe. How safe? Now, a lot of people don't understand what the freehold means, and so I'll start with explaining the freehold title, the freehold origin, and how it applies to Ekpe. Now, if you have been watching a lot of my guides and videos, I've explained it previously that every land in Lagos and every urban area in Nigeria belongs to the government, except if the government have released that land to the community or for the family through an exhibition and a gazette. Now, for Ekpe right now, most of the lands that we are selling by real estate companies are on freehold. Now, what's the difference between a freehold land and an exhibition land? Now, for the land decree, there is a caveat, which means that the land decree where all lands belong to the government applies for land in urban areas. Now, based on the current Lagos state classification, Ekpe is still regarded as a rural area. So the freehold status of land in Ekpe for now means that the government have released that land for the families and the communities for them to reside there and basically to be doing agricultural purposes there, which is farming. That's what that freehold means. Now, for a lot of people that have already inquired from me, I always tell them this: Ekpe is still classified as a rural area right now, which makes the freehold title legit. But that rural classification and that freehold is not for life, which means by the time the population in Ekpe continue to rise, the development in Ekpe continue to rise, and the land appreciation in Ekpe continues to rise, at some point that classification of Ekpe as rural area or a rural town is going to change, and Ekpe will also be classified as an urban area. Immediately that classification change and Ekpe move from a rural area to an urban area, freehold does not apply again. So that's why for now that Ekpe is still classified as a rural area, is good and advisable for you to buy on the freehold title. But the best thing you have to do, which is what I always advise everyone investing in Lagos, you have to perfect your title. For the freehold land that you are buying in Ekpe right now, maybe they are advertising the property or the land with registered survey, CFO in view, CFO in process, or they put it there blatantly freehold. After purchase, you will have to perfect that title to CFO for it to be safe. Whenever the classification of Ekpe have moved from a rural area to an urban area, your land is going to be safe. Because ideally, The classification of Ekpe as rural area only applies to the original landowners, the families, and then the communities. Immediately, these people, these families and this community are selling this land to investors, real estate companies, individuals. Everyone will have to perfect their title to CFO. The reason why a lot of real estate companies are really not interested in perfecting the title to CFO right now is because of the cost. On average, you are still going to see lands for sale in Ekpe right now at 750k, lands for sale 650k, 800k, 850k, or 1 million naira. If these real estate companies perfect these properties to CFO, they are going to be selling this land at 4 million, 5 million, 6 million. And understandably, a lot of investors that are investing in Ekpe right now are investing because it's cheap, because they need the land below 1 million and don't buy 1 acre, buy 2 acres. So the real estate companies, as well, preferably just want to sell to meet the cheap market, and that's why a lot of them are not taking the burden of perfecting the title to CFO. But you, as an investor, after you have purchased that property, you have to perfect that title before the classification of Ekpe change from a rural area to an urban area, because immediately the government change that designation, that classification of Ekpe from rural to urban. It means that all land in Ekpe previously under freehold falls into government acquisition. Now, another thing, there are a lot of properties in Ekpe that have shattered. I've sent to my surveyor, sent survey plan to my surveyor, and they are not on freehold. So the freehold status does not apply to all of Ekpe. There are some part of Ekpe that is government acquisition that the government already have planned for. So that's why you just don't have to buy into what the companies are saying, or buy into the advertised title on the flyer. You also need to do your verification, particularly if you are buying in acres. So I don't go and buy a government acquisition property, because the cost of perfection on a freehold land is very, very cheap compared to when the property is under government acquisition. So that's another thing that you have to be careful about in Ekpe. There are a lot of parts of Ekpe right now where government already have interest in. They've already designated what they are going to do there. Even there are some parts that is gazette, the government have revoked the gazette. So a lot of things are really happening in Lagos behind the scene. So that's why you have to be careful about these things, and you need to get a surveyor in your team so you can always check this. I'm not a surveyor, but I have a surveyor that I use. So these are one of the things that you have to be wary of, be aware of when you are investing in Ekpe. The freehold status right now is perfect, is safe, is legit, as long as you have verified, your surveyor has verified for you. But you need to understand that eventually you have to perfect this freehold to a CFO. Now, for those that the company have put it there, CFO in view or CFO in process, yes, the company can apply for the CFO, can perfect the CFO for you, but they are going to charge you more. What I mean by that is this: you bought the land at 750k per plot, CFO in view or CFO in process. Now, once the company perfects that CFO for Ekpe, once the company perfects that CFO, they are going to come back to you guys and share the costs among all the people that are invested in that location. Even there are some companies, as you are buying, they will be asking you, do you want them to also perfect the CFO for you, and they will give you a cost, a likely estimate for what is going to cost you, for you, what you are going to pay extra for that. And if you don't want them to do it for you, they will leave it for you to do at your pace, do your extra survey, and then do your own CFO yourself. So these are things that you have to be aware of when you are buying or investing in freehold lands for sale in Ekpe. Number one, the freehold land or the freehold status right now for Ekpe is basically because Ekpe is regarded as a rural area, which means it's safe for you to buy, it's safe for you to invest, but you have to perfect. Number two, the freehold status does not cover the entire Ekpe. There are also government acquisition lands in Ekpe too, which means that you have to be careful and you have to verify if actually that property falls within the freehold area or outside the freehold area. Now, for a lot of land in Ekpe also, another thing that you have to be aware of is there are a lot of agricultural zones in Ekpe or farm settlements in Ekpe, which are places where the government have designated for people to do farming. Even right now, a lot of the industries, a lot of the companies that are in Ekpe right now, they are mostly into farming, like 90% of them. Now, that's not a very big scale. There are a lot of places in Lagos that was previously also designated as farm settlements. For example, Okoba in Agege was also initially a farm settlement, but if you go there right now, it's a residential area, fully residential, estates everywhere, houses everywhere, and so on. So by the time the population in Ekpe also increase to, like, maybe we start having like 1 million people there, 2 million people there, definitely that place will move from an agricultural zone to a residential zone. So because you are buying a farmland or you are buying agricultural land does not mean that in the future you can change into something residential. You can. Actually, even if you do a CFO for agric, at some point you can also change or upgrade that CFO to also residential or mixed use. So I don't want you to feel discouraged because maybe the land that you are interested to buy in Ekpe is an agricultural zone. You can invest. Since you are doing land banking, it's something that you want to live for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. More population, the population of that place is going to increase definitely at some point, and most farm settlements, farmlands are going to move beyond Ekpe into other rural areas. So that's another thing that you have to be aware of. So that's it. So I think I've educated you guys enough right now for you to understand what the freehold status of Ekpe really means, how it applies on the property that you are investing in, and what you have to do next after you have invested on a property for freehold. Now, a very, very important warning. There are also some parts of Lagos where people are advertising land on freehold, like Ijebu-Ode, Ibeju-Lekki. There are also some land there where people are advertising on freehold. Please, before you buy any of this land, send your surveyor there. Any of this land, particularly Ibeju-Lekki, because Ibeju-Lekki will be extremely industrialized. So I don't see the government regarding any part of Ibeju-Lekki as a rural area. So always try to send your surveyor there to ascertain that land if they are telling you is freehold and that place is not in Ekpe. Do you understand now? Because most of this land, they are government land. So people don't just have any title. That's why sometimes they are putting the freehold status there. So you have to ascertain if actually that freehold is there, or what was the status of that land. If you buy it, can you perfect it, or if it's a no-go area. So, and that's part of the thing, that's part of the reason why I'm here, to advise you guys, to educate you guys when you want to make your property investments and you want to make your property choices. So I hope I've been able to explain, guide and educate you on freehold lands for sale in Ekpe, for people that have invested already, people that have got 2 acres, 3 acres in Ekpe, people that are about to buy, and people that are like doubting or being wary about what that freehold status means. Is this actually legit? If you're not really comfortable with freehold, just go for something with CFO, which is always the best anyway. But when you buy freehold and then you perfect yourself to, is quite much cheaper and much more convenient too. So you can also take that road, buy freehold, 1 acre, 2 acres, perfect your to CFO yourself, fence your land, and you have that investment there. So I still mean, one property on the planet, your property advisor, your property consultant, Rabiu Mustafa. Thanks once again for watching our videos, for following us, for the encouragement, the comments. We appreciate you guys a lot. And for everyone that has also come to my DM for inquiries, for consultations, I so much appreciate everyone. And I also promise you, we have so much topics, so much interesting topics to share with you that you are going to learn a lot from. Thanks once again. If you learn a lot from this video, don't forget to give me a thumb like. And if you have also been learning and be watching a lot of our videos, do subscribe so that you don't miss any of our coming episodes and coming topics. Thanks.